Bienvenidos al podcast de los chicos espeluznantes. No digas pollo enfrente del abuelo. The boys go bump.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, aka the Boys Who Go Bump in the Night. My name is Luis, and I'm here with my two fellas. Introduce yourself, boys.
One at a time. It's me, Liam. You're a spooky boy. Uri, take it away.
Hola, me llamo Uri. No, I'm Uri. I'm the other one. Hi.
Yeah, welcome guys. Episode 2 of the podcast, or maybe this is episode 3 or 10. I have no idea when we'll upload this. This is all pretty amateur stuff, as you can tell. But basically,
I think we've already got thousands of listeners. As far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
millions, some would say.
but yeah, I mean, this is a podcast basically where we watch a bunch of hopefully obscure, like lesser heard of horror films from all over the globe, and we just pretty much have a chat about them. We talk about what we think was good, bad, the interesting parts, the goofy parts. A lot of these films, horror films tend to be either really, really good or really, really bad. So we hope to sort of get a bit of a peek at all different types. Yeah, so I guess this week we have watched a film from Uruguay. It's called La Casa Muda, which means like the silent house. This one was released in 2011, apparently, according to the old Google search.
2010?
Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah, you're right,
remake
yeah.
was 2011,
Yeah.
maybe.
So there's an American remake, isn't there?
That's what I thought. The American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2010, 2011, more or less, directed by Gustavo Hernandez. Apparently, there's 20 Gustavos on this project, even though it's a very small film. Story by Gustavo Hernandez, producer Gustavo Rojo, and then we've got one of the main actors is Gustavo Alonso. So the whole thing's just full of Gustavos. Don't know why, but that's a little fun fact for the crew.
That's where the quality lies, in the number of Gustavos in the
Exactly.
So yeah.
The entire cast was 4 people as well, so they've really packed as much Gustavo as they can.
The budget was like $6,000 US. It's tiny, and I guess the main draw for it was the fact that it's meant to have been filmed in one take. So it's an hour and 19 minutes long, and it's supposed to be an hour and 19 minutes of quote unquote found footage. Yeah, one take.
Got a good battery.
Yeah, so it's a brief synopsis of what the film is about. It's pretty plot light. So essentially, it's a father, named Wilson, and his daughter Laura, who go to basically this little old house in the countryside, and they meet this fella named Nestor, who has basically hired them to sort of repair the house up since it's in disrepair. It's a very old house. Things get spooky fast. He tells them don't go upstairs. Of course, there's some spooky noises. Your boy Wilson goes upstairs, and all kinds of bullshit happens, basically. We'll get into some of the details of the plot as we sort of discuss it, but yeah, I guess we'll just start off with you guys. I mean, Uri, what was your sort of initial thoughts on this? Like, how did you feel? Like, did you enjoy it? Like, was it actually scary? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so no, I like the movie. It was really interesting the way it was filmed. Like as you said, it was like one continuous take, which I've never seen a movie do this before. The low budget was also, well, I didn't know the budget was so low, but it's understandable. Like once you see it, they didn't spend a lot. You can see it, but it's not that. It doesn't like it's not a thing that the movie shows, especially. You know what I mean? It's like
I'm surprised by how low the budget was, though, because it felt like, I don't know, the sound design was really good. The whole sort of mood and the shots were cool, even though like it was one take, but to line everything up, and it was really cool how they did it. So I'm surprised by how low the budget was.
Definitely. So I guess, yeah, like going off like the cinematography sound design angle, that's probably the biggest draw for me. Like the thing I found most interesting, and the thing that was, I guess, yeah, made it scary actually. combined with like the low budget of, it made it feel very authentic, and the whole, like, it's a found footage thing, so you still feel like you're there. It's all that kind of scenario. Like, Liam, were there any like particular scenes that you felt really like exemplified the camera work or the sound design?
I guess particularly so early on, they basically get to this house just before night, which kind of doesn't. I don't know why. It's obviously a creepy house. Like, get there in the morning. Yeah, but they're inside and they're going to sleep just on these chairs, and kind of like we were saying, the way it's shot, just sort of on a handheld camera, sort of behind the main character Laura, I guess, for most of it, and you sort of feel like you're there in the room, and it's very sort of dark, and there's sort of very low saturation on the colors, like the way it's edited, so it's all very sort of, I don't know, low color, it's a bit of spooky, and then there's sort of it's like
Yeah.
very quiet for, like, there's often no complete silence, or sort of very quiet, sort of disjointed piano in the background, just adds to the whole vibe. And then there's one point where you can this radio starts up upstairs, and so it's all crackly, and like it's like some children singing and some whistling, and there's, I don't know, it was real creepy.
Yeah. And the whole vibe is like, because you're downstairs and like you can hear the footsteps upstairs, and you can hear like the dropping of a body or something on the ground after that.
Like a shout from that.
Yeah, it was done really well, and it was obviously all like legit because they had this little house they were using. So I feel like a lot of those sounds were probably recorded like on site. So
yeah, like a
pretty
bang on a sidewall, and because of how sort of quiet it was, and the creepy sort of underlying piano, it's like, I don't know, it sort of had you on edge. It was like, yeah, sort of really, really well done that way.
I'd say like probably the first hour or so of the film, like it was genuinely like pretty scary. Like I was having a bad time. I know Liam, you also watched it late at night, like myself. Uri, did you watch this late at night? Like, were you pretty scared?
I did watch it late at night. Yeah.
Were you actually scared from it? Like, how did you feel?
And the thing is, I'm not used to watching scary movies, so I was like,
oh no, you're on the wrong podcast, mate.
I think this would be better. So, well, it's an excuse to see. Since I'm not like this used to watching scary films, I was trying not to pay that much attention, so I don't get scared. Especially at night with the actually scary movie, like the last week.
Yeah, I definitely had my laptop too close to my face, and there's some really dark scenes, and then something would happen. Like when there was one where she was sort of about to go through a door, and then it just slammed in her face.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
My God, that scared the absolute shit out of me. Like, I really did a little bit of a poo in my.
Yeah, there's a lot of jump scares, I feel, but like, I don't know, like it's not like they overuse it. Like, there's a lot of tension. I'd say almost nothing happens for the first half an hour, 40 minutes in terms of like scares. Like, it's very low key for a lot of it.
There's this underlying tension that's building up because you know something not right.
And because of the budget, like, it can't be showing you crazy effects or stuff flying across the room, or it was all pretty much things opening, closing noises. It was very
And then you'll see very interesting. The camera will be on her face, and it will pan slightly when she's in a doorway, and you'll see someone standing.
Oh yeah, these are the scenes that got me the most. Like the scary scenes.
But yeah, they lined that up well. If it was truly one take.
Like you have to like search around the shot for something, like you're expecting to see something. Like, really well done.
Yeah.
One funny thing is, like, I did read that apparently the camera these guys used to film this film, it's meant to only be able to take 15 minutes worth of footage at a time before you need to like change out the film. So people seem to have suggested this actually isn't a legit, hour 19 worth of continuous shot, but regardless, like, the effect is still pretty damn authentic, I'd say. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, they managed to make it look like it, and to get some really, really good shot and scene with the low budget and the difficulty that comes with making it one single shot.
Yeah.
One after you're saying this.
Yeah, I guess it's the style of shooting, right? Like, I don't know if you guys seen that war movie that was kind of recent last year, I think, 1917, which was like the one take style. but it was like they
Yeah,
confirmed it
I've not
was.
seen it, but I've definitely I need to watch it.
Yeah, I think it was all in sort of 7 to 8 minute takes, but it was just cleverly
Yeah,
transitioned so that it looked like it was following these war guys along. And Birdman as well, like, and those are two of like movies that I really like, and they've done this sort of. I really like this style. It's cool. It makes you sort of feel like you're there with them, or like walking behind
yeah,
them, and it worked. Yeah, I
absolutely,
thought it
and it
worked
works well
well.
in horror. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess, yeah, considering all that, so I mean, there's two scenes I think in particular, or two types of scenes they use that were really really cool. Like, there's one toward the end there, the camera flash scene.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if one of you guys want to describe that one. That was a really clever
yeah. Well, this
scene they
this
had.
brings me to my weekly segment,
Oh.
the jump scare of the week. So we started off in the first episode.
Wasn't it kill of the week last week? Are we just
There wasn't enough kills in this, and you didn't really see
It's
any
true.
kills if they happened. So it's going to be jump scares.
Take it away then, Liam. Jump scare of the week then.
First nomination is going to be the Polaroid camera scene. So we've already established that the Polaroid camera is there. There's a few photos she sees at the start in an album, and it's like creeping her out. And so in another scene, she like picks it up and looks at it, and it takes a photo. And of course, there's someone standing in the back of it behind her when she
Yeah.
sees the photo. Some classic. I mean, it was pretty predictable, but it was still, I don't know, it's an effective sort of spooky tension building. There's someone in there, blah blah blah. But yeah, so then there's this one scene. So what happened immediately before it? The light. So her lamp that she's carrying around goes out,
Yeah.
basically, and she's
she gets stuck in a room and she pretty much it's like the door slammed on her and it smashes a lantern, so it's pitch black.
So that first of all, that jump
Yes.
scare scared the shit out of me. So she's like kind of peeking through a door, and then it just slams and everything goes pitch black. And my God, like, I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it, and it just yeah. And then so then we have this. It's fully black screen for quite some time.
Yeah, pitch black.
And you can kind of hear little noises, and then there'll be just like a fully bright flash of the Polaroid camera. So she's taking pictures basically to see what's in front of her.
To light the room up.
Yeah, to light the room up. And so you'll see a flash and the room's empty. And then it'll be a little while, like you hear the Polaroid print, and then it'll be fully black again, and then flash, and like you'll see, it's like nothing really again. It's just like multiple flashes just building up. And then suddenly one of them is just her dad lunging at her with a knife.
Yeah, who at this point in the film is the dude should be dead. Like the dude's he's KO'd.
And it was a really well done scene. And then so the next flash is like a splatter of blood on the floor, and then she's like screaming and running out and like runs. But it was. So I think she crawls out after that, doesn't she?
Yeah,
covered in more blood than she was before.
I'd say it's definitely. That was like my favorite scene. I think, like in terms of like the tension at that point, I think it's probably the peak of the film in terms of the scares. After that, it kind of trails off into nothing, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, the camera flashing, I think, is the point where you're like, you've seen some spooky ghost shit going on. You've seen, Wilson, the dad's been killed. He's now like, you think the boy's out of there. Like, no chance he's coming back. And then for him to rock up with a knife in the dark with these flashes going off, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because something's going to happen, but these flashes of light are so sporadic. Like you don't know.
They are.
You don't know when. Like you don't know which flash is going to show you something, and then suddenly, another little spoopy jump scare was she was like searching around the house earlier, and she like was searching on top of the fridge for I think the key to get out. He'd been locked in.
Yeah, looking for the key.
These birds just fly out from the top of the fridge, or some wings, or a bat, or something just flaps out.
Yeah, I think it was birds. Yeah, that kind of pissed me off. I was like,
where did
I mean, it's not going to be anything up there. Like, it's going to be like she won't find the key. It'll be a rat or like a little cheap trick, and it was. And I was like, all right, birds.
It's just I don't know if it's because I normally watch horror movies with people.
Yeah,
and I just watched this alone in my room at 2 a.m. Fully dark, and all these jump scares were just getting me. Yeah, it was. I guess the tension was built really well, so it just had you on edge. Like you knew they were coming,
absolutely,
but they still didn't. They didn't. I don't think they overused them, so it was
No, they play with you.
Yeah.
Like it would infer something, or you'd see something, and it would. It's a lot of slow building. I think they did a
It
really
would
good job
build,
with that.
sort of release a little bit, build, but just gradually overall still building to this. And then it just kind of flops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say. So I think we want to address now is the ending. So I mean, so this film is in Spanish, and Liam has no knowledge of Spanish apart from a few key words.
Yeah, my Spanish, despite what you heard up at the top of this episode, is more of a sort of yo como manzanas level of like Duolingo type.
Yeah. And I'm like, intermediate level, but not amazing. Our boy Uri here,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Spaniard.
A native.
He's from Catalonia.
Yeah.
He's a native, and he struggled to understand what was happening in this film.
Yeah, but it's mainly because it's not dialogue driven. It's more much like image. It's what takes the main focus. And a few lines
Which
of
is a good
dialogues.
thing in some ways.
Yeah, because I think it's normal being in a horror film. It's more the lines are meant to be said in like the girl is panting while when she's talking and everything. So it doesn't really help if you want to understand.
Nonetheless, I mean, what did you take away as I mean, just a quick summary of what you think the ending was, because it was definitely unclear, I'd say.
Well, the ending. Yeah. So at one point in the movie, Nestor, who is the owner of the house, joins in, and they get to a point where Laura is upstairs in a room and the room is the wall of it's a bedroom. The wall of the bedroom is covered in like Polaroid photographs of like women with Nestor, and I think it's his dad, the other guy. And if I don't remember incorrectly, Laura is also in the pictures, in the photograph, in the Polaroids of the wall.
Yeah, but it wasn't that clear. Like,
Yeah,
it was a little ambiguous. Yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
basically a lot of like sort of lewd photos of them with all these women not clothed, and so it basically gave the idea that they were sort of not doing great things in this house.
And from
yeah,
there, I think they get to the killer or the presence that kills kills the dad gets to Nestor.
He's tied up.
Yeah, tied up. Yeah.
Yeah, like the dad had been earlier.
Yeah.
And you still don't really know who has done this.
Oh, so in a flip of, like, I guess this is the twist of the movie, Laura just, how gonna, well, I don't remember what happened in the end. I remember, I don't know how to explain it. That's the thing.
That's cool, man. So from what I understood, essentially, is that the idea was that she went upstairs, like you said, and the Polaroids on the wall. From what I understand, is that it actually was Laura in all of them. It's just she looked a lot younger. She looked like probably, I'd say, underage. She's kind of what it's implied. She had like dyed different hair, and there was also photos of her pregnant. And as you said, when she returned downstairs, Nestor was all beaten up, and she basically yells at him, like implying that there was some sort of back and forth about they actually kissed and stuff in that scene, and like saying I only got you back to do this job so I could see you one more time, and it's basically implied that Nestor was, I'm assuming, the dad of this child that Lara had, and it's implied that Wilson and Nestor had killed this kid to cover up what was essentially them doing some pretty nasty stuff to Laura that ended up getting her pregnant. Yeah, so then they've obviously parted ways, and Laura's gone off with her dad, and they've lived different lives now for I don't know how long, but yeah, that's sort of the implication. And this ghost that's spooking around and haunting the place is essentially her dead kid. And then for a minute, which she pretty much goes crazy. She props up Nestor and puts him in the chair like Wilson was, and puts a little doll there, like how Wilson was found with this doll, how the ghost child was implied to have killed him. She props Nestor up and kills him and takes a photograph and all that stuff. So she sort of implies that she then basically loses her mind. And the ending basically is like, some text pops up and it's implied that no one's been able to find Laura since, and that there was bodies found in their house all mutilated. And yeah, so I mean, I guess in light of that, did you guys think that ending made sense to you? I mean, obviously, Uri, you were confused. I feel like I was confused. I had to go and read a little bit about this after the fact. Liam, did you get that on first watch? Or
I was very confused. All I could pick up from the conversation between her and Nestor was she was telling him to shut up.
Yeah.
He was screaming it over and over again. Despite my elite Spanish, but I did get that they were somehow referring to her the dead child. So Nestor had obviously abused her, raped her, and had got her pregnant. And then she like flipped and was like basically like killed them. And then this whole idea that there was someone else in the house is like, was there actually someone else like who stabbed the dad and tied them up? Or was it just her all along? And she's sort of psychotic, and like she's just seeing all these things, like seeing her daughter as like a sort of ghost because of how sort of messed up she was by the way that she had been treated.
Which I think is like an interesting way of like looking at it, right? Like it gives it a little bit of like leeway that you can believe it was supernatural, you can believe that she's basically psychotic, which is like it's a nice way to do it, I suppose. Like it's an interesting bit of subtlety there.
Yeah, it was just a weird shift from the like her being the victim to.
Absolutely. So that's the thing, right? So like based on that, like considering how the film ends, and that they obviously had, it's implied based on the photos that they had lived there and experienced, a reasonable amount of time there together, all three of them, Laura, Wilson, and Nestor. Did you guys think that affected the first half or the first 2/3 of the film? Because for me, it made no sense. Like I don't understand why they would go back to the house and all this stuff.
Yeah, and when Nestor showed up, gives her a hug and kisses on the cheek, and it's like they have never met before. And then she kind of like looks through his car. It's just a bit weird. It makes the end. It kind of doesn't make sense unless she'd sort of blocked these memories because they were traumatic, and then it's sort of all like when she sees the photos, she remembers and flips out. But then it's still who was doing the rest of the shit in the house if that's the case. It kind of like something. It just doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with what's happened until that scene where you know that they knew each other all along. So it's like kind of the mindfuck that you get after speculating the whole movie. Oh, who's the killer? Oh, why are they here? Oh, what's happening? And they just she turns crazy, and they were all related. But still, there are massive things that you don't know yet.
Exactly. It's odd though, because then it's like, why would she be searching around the house? Why would she be unsure about, where things are? She looked like a lot of the time she was inspecting things, like, and she looked like she was not used to the place. Like, it was kind of weird. And then the fact that, like you said, Liam, like she doesn't act around Nestor. Like, I feel like if you met your abuser again, that you're not going to be happy to, like it just didn't quite seem right. Like it didn't really add up. And
and it's like I was saying, it's either like it was sort of like she repressed the memories and then suddenly it all came back to her, but then the timeline of that doesn't quite add up because all the creepy shit was happening in the house before she sort of found the photos. And
which I guess implies that maybe there was a real ghost. I don't know. It's a lot of inconsistency.
It's a lot. You see someone else after her dad has died with a knife in the upstairs room with the paintings. She's hiding, and there's this sort of cool shot reflected in the mirror, so you can see her and then what's behind her. There were a lot of these cool sort of ways that the camera would move and go past a mirror, and sort of you could see different angles, which I thought was really well done again. But yeah, it's just the whole sort of twist they decided to go with, I think, was the main letdown for me. It just didn't quite add up.
And then like the fact that at the start of the film, obviously Nestor was telling them, don't go upstairs. I'm assuming then he would know that she would be triggered by what's up there. But like the room she enters is this bedroom with like a bunch of, plastics hanging from the roof. And as Uri said, there's the Polaroids fixed to the wall on every surface. But it's like, why would you leave that up there when you have hired this girl and her dad to clean and repair the house? It's a bit goofy. It's weird,
Yeah, and he said, don't go upstairs.
Come on,
like,
I mean, you gotta go upstairs.
You could have just packed up the photos, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is a $6,000 budget.
Of course, but I mean,
budget,
you can still. I mean, that's a writing issue more than a budget issue, I'd argue.
Yeah.
I guess all the Gustavos in the project didn't know how to write a film, but too many Gustavos spoil the broth.
How many Gustavos does it take to write a succinct script?
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, what was some other than that? Like, any other major scenes that you really enjoyed, or things that you had issue with, or?
Yeah, the getting out of the house. Like, she was fighting to get out of the house since her dad gets killed. And once she gets out and is like running through the forest, and she finds that's how Nestor comes into the movie again. Is when she's out of the house in the forest, a car comes by and it's Nestor's, and he just takes her back to the house and was like, yeah, it's fine, let's go to the house, which where her dad was killed and everything, and he was like, no, let's go, yeah.
And she was kind of
Thank you,
easy to
Nestor.
convince. She was like, put up a bit of a fight initially, and it's the same when she found her dad dead. She was like, oh no, sad for a little bit, and she was like, oh, never mind, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like she did a good job. I mean, to be honest, if you're in a situation, right, and like your dad just got killed by, you don't know fucking what it was, like you're not going to sit there like grieving for 10 hours. You're going to be like, holy shit, I'm going to, get myself out of here and get my dad's
that's true.
possible, dead ass body out of here because I could be next. Like, I don't think that was necessarily an issue.
Yeah,
I found it more strange how Uri said that Nestor just rocks up like he's having a little drive in the forest, and it's like he's
yeah, exactly.
Got there, said, hey, don't go upstairs. Left, drives back an hour later, less than an hour later. It's like, why?
Yeah, unless we're missing something from the dialogue, because again, a lot of the dialogue was hard to hear, or like I don't know, but and it's Spanish. But even Uri couldn't get it.
Well, the dialogue in the car was pretty much what happened to your dad, and Laura all the time was like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to go back. I don't know, I don't want to go back. He just takes her back to the house, and it's like, I'm gonna take a look, and just gets fucking knifed in the throat in the house.
Yeah, it's strong from the boy.
Pretty much.
I guess one thing though, I know that Liam you brought up before we were chatting was how she used the sickle like as a weapon.
I feel frustrated often by horror movies where someone will sort of go searching around the house and not pick up anything to use as a weapon. Like especially when they know something's gone bad already, they'll just walk around like nothing's wrong. But she not only finds like something to beat someone's ass with, this is like a full sickle. Like this can do some damage. So I was proud of Laura.
Yeah. You can harvest wheat and harvest organs. It's the whole deal.
Good thinking by Gustavo and the Gustavos. That's one thing that frustrates me a lot. My first reaction always was to be in a spoopy situation. Like you grab something that you can beat someone's ass with if they pop out. So I rate that. It was a mean looking weapon too.
I mean, she also used it, which is a couple of points.
Bonus points. When they say, if you can't show a gun in a scene if it's not going to go off later in the movie or whatever, right? What's that whole thing?
Yeah, you can't show a sickle unless you sickle some boys that are in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I suppose final thoughts, boys. What were your opinions overall? And give us a rating. Uri, what were your thoughts overall?
So it started off pretty good, like with the like the way it was shot, the scenes, like we said, the flash scenes and everything, and the tension that was building up. I got a good vibe, a good feeling. But when it came to like the end, it confused the shit out of me. That like I left when I finished the movie really confused. It ended up not that great for me.
What would you rate it out of 5?
So out of 5, I think it's 2 Polaroids out of 5. I think.
So yeah, similar kind of thing. Like first, I guess even hour of the movie, I was like into it. The cinematography, bueno. The sound design, bueno. It was some good shit. Like it was the tension was building and building. Like I was on edge. Didn't know who was doing it. Like who was in the house. And then they like flipped it, and she was the bad one. And I felt it just. All the tension was gone, and it really kind of just took you out of the. Like I felt like I was in it, I was following along with her, and I was scared shit with her, and then it's like, oh shit, and it just it took me out of it. Yeah, it's disappointing because I feel like it was a much better film than the one we watched last week. But that was not trying to be like a good serious film. Like so, what it was, I feel like. So I think I'll give this one as well. 3 Gustavos out of 5.
You stole my rating system. Should have known. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty similarly to you guys. I'd say, like, again, yeah, the first hour is pretty stellar. I really enjoyed it, and it was genuinely scary, which is a hard thing to achieve in horror films when they're, especially when you have a low budget and you don't have a lot to deal with. For a film shot in essentially it's one house over an hour and 20 minutes, and you've got basically three actors on film. Usually, only one, Laura, who pretty much carries the whole film. Yeah, it was really really well done, and then just the ending, it felt like it was, yeah, it just retroactively kind of goofed the rest of it up. I see what they were going for, but it just didn't pull it off, and there were too many plot holes as a result, I feel. Yeah, so it's a solid 3 Gustavos out of 5 for me as well, purely for the spook for the first hour, just that last 20 minutes, no tension, and it just really slowed down way too much.
Yeah. I was definitely feeling a strong 5, and then the ending was too disappointing to like. So yeah, it just lost Gustavo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left
But
and right, just dropping
plenty more
Gustavos.
to go around.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
that's probably all we've got time for this week, fellas. I would say to all of our listeners, all 20,000 of you that are definitely listening, join the Instagram, join the
What are we
Twitters,
watching
join the
next
MySpace.
week? It's
Oh, we got a treat, my boys.
I have forgotten the
Oh.
name, but it's a Japanese film.
Yeah, so it's called Noroi the Curse. Yeah.
Cool. So keen for that. Get watching
Yes.
our spoopy boys and girls out there, so you can listen to us talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah, get involved, guys. Follow us on all the things. I don't even know what things we have. Follow us anyway.
Get following. Hey.
Yeah. No, thanks, fellas.
Adios.
Thanks, Uri and Liam, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.